I would say like 5 years ago, you need a bachelor's degree, and then you'd have to go to flight training. Flight training would take anywhere from 2 to 3 years, depending on experience. So you would need to get a certain amount of hours to get to the airlines even before that. But now there's a really big pilot shortage. It's actually beneficial right now to become a pilot because now you don't need a degree anymore. You can just go to flight training, get your required hours, your licenses, start flying the small planes, get more experience, and then you can go to the airlines already. There's not many pilots coming in because it's a lot of money to get the trainings. There you have to get your private license, which is your first license, which just allows you to fly for fun. Then you got to get your instrument license, which is the second step of license, which allows you to fly through weather and clouds and storms. So it's called instrument because you're relying on your instruments of the gauges of the airplane. Then your third license is your commercial. Once you get the commercial license, then now you can fly for hire. So it takes you about 250 hours of flight training to get you up to the commercial. However, with 250 hours, no airlines will hire you. And this goes back to the same thing 5 years ago. We needed a degree, you need the licenses. Like 5, 6 years, you needed 4,000 hours to apply to like American, JetBlue, Spirit, all those guys. Now with this pilot shortage, there's not many pilots. Like it's basically your gold as an aviator. So now you don't need a degree anymore, and you need only 1,500 hours, 1,500 hours, and you can already fly for the airlines. I mean, to get your license, it costs a lot of money. So my example is I paid about $130 an hour for the airplane, just to rent the airplane. Then about another $60 an hour for the instructor to sit there next to you and tell you what to do, to teach you. So you do that for about 100 hours. So now if you do the math, that's quite a bit of money. Now that there's a shortage, there's a lot of universities that are coming out with aeronautical degrees. So like that you can get your degree and the flight training at the same time. I have a lot of friends that do it. For example, there's a lift academy. They're up in Indianapolis. So they'll put you through college, get your degrees, they'll get all your ratings, and once you have all your ratings, they'll give you a job to fly little airplanes, get your required experiences, and then you automatically have a guaranteed job to fly for United or Republic or one of those other airlines. Fortunately now, there's a big pilot shortage and stuff, the money's there now too. So I mean, it costs you a lot of money to get to this career, but it's probably the quickest turnaround. Within a year of being in airlines, you make every money that you just spent the last 5 years on training. You make it all back and then some, and it's growing.
When you did the training, when you passed the test, you knew you could fly a plane. But for the first time, sitting on a commercial jet, knowing that you got hundreds of passengers in the back,
Yeah.
how nervous were you?
So the good thing with aviation, the training is very thorough. So the first time you sit in an airplane, and like for an example, an Airbus 321, you have 228 passengers back there. The first time you sit in that airplane, it's not your first time. You've already gone through 3-4 months of simulator training. So you're sitting inside this multi-million-dollar simulator that's basically the closest thing to an airplane. And the instructor's putting you through all kinds of stuff. You're flying, you're landing, you're taking off, you're doing all kinds of training. So you do that for 3-4 months. And then by the time you get an airplane, it's basically like you're in a simulator. Once again, everything is realistic in these simulators.
When you wake up in the morning, what are your flight timings? Does it vary, or is it fixed is it a 9 to 5 thing?
No, it varies. It could be any time from flying red eyes, 11 p.m. flight to arrive at your destination at 5 in the morning. It could be 3 in the morning, be home by 9. It varies. It's definitely a lifestyle that you need to adapt to, and it's a little hard on family. So if you are married or have kids, you need someone very supportive.
Many youngsters believe you just wear a uniform, you reach the airport, you go straight to the plane. Does it work like that, or you go through the entire process of getting your luggage checked in? What's the process like when you reach the airport? How different is it for the pilots?
It's a little easier. We've gone through 10 years of background checks. We've gone through background checks, fingerprints. We've gone through a lot of security checks before we can even become a pilot. So I mean, we go through security, but it's not through the metal detectors or anything like that. Sometimes you get randomed. That's just how it is now. So you'll go through and then, you've been chosen random. So now you have to go through the regular line, but you kind of skip the line. You don't go through the line and wait. You still got to go through the line. You still put your clothes to your suitcase through the scanner, and then you get to the airport and you have your badge, you have uniform, walk up to the airplane, do your pre-flights and everything, walk around, you check.
Hey Major, welcome on board Flight 3659 Chicago to Buffalo. Just waiting on the captain. His flight was a little bit delayed, but he should be there next 5 to 10 minutes, and then once he gets on board, and we're shutting on the way to Buffalo. We'll be climbing to
What's the pre-flight like? I mean, I've seen pilots checking engines. I mean, like, you just study for that as well? What is that all about?
Yeah, so that's also part of your training. So the first step is to walk up to the airplane and just visually inspect everything. I mean, we're not mechanics, we fly the airplane, but it's still up to us for safety to make sure everything's okay. So I start off one part of the airplane, and you work your way around, looking at the lights, looking at the tires, the wheels, checking like the fluids, any damages, just anything visually you can see that might be a concern. And if you do see something or notice something that you're not too sure about, then that's when you delay the flight, you contact maintenance, because those are the guys that do the repairs, and they'll come give a second opinion. Oh, it's fine. It's maybe a loose something, or oh no, this is a good job. You caught something that could have been very very horrible, and then they'll fix it and so on. So it's just us doing the first step of safety in our day.
Did they prank you or anything? Is there a joke about new pilots when they come in the first flight?
Yeah, you do everything. You bring coffee for the captain. You bring coffee for the captain. You basically you're probably gonna fly every single leg just because you're so new. Um, you're gonna do everything. The captain's gonna sit back, relax, and enjoy his time off during these flights, while you're doing all the hard work. You're doing all the checks, and if it's in Canada or winter time and it's like -2 degrees outside or something, you're going outside. You're gonna check the airplane. The captain's gonna stay inside the airplane, nice and cozy, drinking his coffee, and you come in all frozen. And flight attendants are the ones that mess with you the most. They're always pulling pranks on the pilots. They can't really do it on the passengers anymore, but they do it to the pilots. They'll pretend that they spill coffee on you, or they'll just call you for almost anything. Just make a joke, because they know that we just sit there when we're flying, and autopilot does all the work. So we're sitting there, so they try to like keep us busy and prank us as much as they can.
You said you fly from like 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Do pilots ever get to sleep?
If you're doing international flights, the big airplanes, the 777, 787, the Airbus, the 747 stuff. If you're doing the big airplanes, flying like New York to Orlando to England to overseas, those guys, they have 3 pilots. So the 2 pilots, they fly the first leg. Whenever one gets tired, then he goes in the back and sleeps, and that third pilot that's been sitting in the back the whole time will come relieve him and give him a break. What I do is I fly basically domestic and Canada and South America, so we only have 2 pilots. Our legs aren't that long for us to take breaks. And then when you're in flight, if it's like you and I flying right now, no, you can't take a nap. This is also something maybe years ago you were able to do it, but now things have gotten very strict, and so you don't you stay awake, you stay alert. If I'm flying, even though I'm flying, he still has to do the radios. So you're always doing something. He's doing the radios. He's checking my gauges, the temperatures, the fuel. You're still kind of staying busy.
But your family's got to love one thing more than you being a pilot, and that is free tickets. Is that true? Does that bother you? I mean, I'm sure. Do you like the idea that your family is more concerned about getting free tickets?
Yeah, but I only give them a few at a time. I don't give them a lot. They'll get spoiled. And
Lice, is your dad the only one going to get the free ticket? Can I get a free ticket?
this interview's over. I gotta go. I gotta catch a flight. I'll see you guys.